Hello and welcome to the Western Bulldogs podcast, Barclay Street. Winners are grinners here on Barclay Street, and it was another massive win for the Bulldogs over in Perth in front of absolutely no one, but it was still good to get the 4 points. A man who wasn't out there playing, but he wears the colours with pride. It's our premiership captain from 2016, Easton Wood. Welcome back to Barclay Street, my co-host, my friend. I was going to say my mentor, but that's me to you. Easton
very
Wood,
kind introduction there, Bobo. If you're feeling okay, what's happening? I'm not used to this positivity. I feel history's taught me to be cautious of this approach.
It's early in the podcast, Easton. Hey, Easton, I thought it would change things up a bit today because we're going to get to cover a bit of ground today, and we've got a very special segment in the second part of today. Not an interview, but something that's going to get a lot of Bulldog fans very, very excited. Absolute frivolous, silly, stupid fun we're going to have in the part two. But can I just ask you a question straight off the top that I think other Bulldog supporters, people like me, punters who watched on the weekend have been watching this year? Is this the best Bulldogs team you've ever seen?
Oh, that's a big statement, but you're not.
Well, it's a question.
Not far off. Well, it's loaded, Bob. It's loaded.
What makes you say that?
Come at me with technicalities, mate. Well, at least we're back.
What makes you say that?
Well, geez, it's got to be very, very, very close, Bob. That game on the weekend, particularly under the challenges that week presented, I mean, that's the first time we've beaten West Coast at the new Optus Stadium, the first time we've beat them since that elimination final win in 16. And, doing it on a week of quarantine, being stuck in a hotel and having the group separated, that's as strong as a win as you'll see. But I'm probably not prepared just yet to say it's the best ever Bulldogs team I've seen. Yeah. But it's as good a win as you'll see during a regular season. That's probably one of the best regular season wins I've seen.
Is it a more talented team across the board than 2016?
Yes. Yeah, I would say that's a pretty accurate call. I mean, I remember
Is there a personal angle? Is there a personal angle to that?
Why? Because I'm out of the team.
I suppose we're out.
So big improvements there.
That makes me feel better.
Big improvements there. No, but I remember having a conversation with you. It was probably back in 2015 or 16. I forget which of the years, but I remember at training one day talking to you and watching Bont roll around, and he was probably only 19 or 20 then, and we were debating could he be he's pretty bloody good now. He could be the best we've seen. That was at 20. Right? Yeah. I remember distinctly having that conversation with you, and we were pretty spot on there, Bobo. Looking at what he's done this year, but what he's put together over his first 7 years of his career is astonishing. But the ferocity he's playing with at the moment, the consistency he's playing with at the moment, he's certainly the most talented player I've seen across my career. And not only the talent, but he's also got the work ethic to put it together. It's just the most complete player I've ever seen. And one of those old things that I'm glad he's on our side. I would be.
He is he is the classic Rolls Royce, isn't he? He's just beautiful to watch. How are you, mate? How's the news came through? I think I was at work and it said Easton Wood's injured again, 3 to 4 weeks, and I just sort of head in the hand sort of thing. I thought, not Laverne and Shirley, please, anything but Laverne or Shirley.
We're all about silver linings on Barclay Street, aren't we, Bob? Always trying to spin the positive. So at least Laverne and Shirley came to the party. They were doing great. They were doing fine.
Yeah.
I jumped in a marking contest and my right foot landed on the front of another player's foot and I rolled forward and I've hurt a lateral ligament in my ankle. So the ankle's blown up and nice and bruised, but it's not broken. But I've got to be in a moon boot for a week, and then we come out of that and start to see how quickly we can progress after that. But Bobo, can't catch a trick at the moment.
No. So Liz Duggan on Twitter has decided, I think, I'm reading between the lines, that we should now call your ankles Mork and Mindy. So Mork, I think you've rolled Mork.
Precedent here, Bobo. I'm not in the business. I don't want any more of my body parts named.
especially ones that come in two.
Yes.
Like if there's, don't do shoulders. I don't want to go into any sort of other areas where there's two of anything, but you can.
Why Mork and Mindy? I've never watched Mork and Mindy, but I'm pretty sure that was Robin Williams' early days, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was his sort of breakout. That was his kind of introduction. Mork was a character on Happy Days. It was an alien that came down into Happy Days, which is, even now, it's kind of pretty weird.
That is.
And it was such a hit that then that gave it its own show.
Right.
Yeah. In the same way that the McChicken was once just a special offer burger at McDonald's and then got put on the permanent menu. So there's just a bit of trivia for you.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Don't say I give you nothing on
learn something new every day.
That's it. Let's keep on this on the injury news. It's a bit of a sour one, but Ryan Gardner, talk about bad luck. Yeah.
Man. What's the exact same one he did in, I think it was round one.
Oh God.
But just the opposite shoulder. So he's just had that, we talk about lightning striking twice. It's been in the exact same spot. So he needs surgery on his AC joint. The poor guy who's as we spoke about him, I think last week, signing a contract extension. Has really much improved and come such a long way, and was becoming such a pivotal piece in that back seven. So real shame for him to have to go through the exact same.
It's terrible.
Such a painful one too. It just
It's nasty. No. So he was becoming an important player for us. So we wish Guards all the best in his recovery. Have you had much time to think about? I know you've had a bit on your plate at the footy club and at home, I'm sure, with the little ones. But is it kind of a strange feeling at this moment? Every single AFL team is in Victoria. Cast your mind back this time last year where it was everyone was fleeing. So it's completely flipped on its head, and there's a chance that games will be played at regional venues. Is Camperdown put its hand up? Your old home club,
the old Lura Oval. I'm not sure if Lura Oval would quite be able to get it done.
What do you call it? Lura Oval.
Lura Oval. So it's at the base of a mountain, and the mountain's called Mount Lura. So there it gets its name from.
Nice literal bunch out there.
Yep, but classic country ground, nice and big and long. Gets very wet in winter, bit of a quagmire at times, but it might not quite have the facilities that the AFL.
What's the capacity? Crowd capacity? Is it?
There's a shed. Yeah, you can stand underneath. There's a great scoreboard over the other side. But lots of rooms for the cars on the hills, mate. Yeah.
And, hey, it's Taylor Dury's 150th this week, and we were remiss of us last week, Lockie Hunter's 150th. Well, give us a bit of a testimonial for those two. They kind of snuck up on me, the Lockie one.
Yeah, well, he's played so many games in such a quick fashion. As we know, he's so reliable with both his body, but on field, I know you'll know this well, but he's a real general the way that he sets up the whole team. And he often is on the wing, and probably the most complex position to play on the field at times is that wing, with the amount of different changing roles. And he's the calmest person in the world, and be able to think through that. Probably one of the smartest footballers I think I've ever played with. Thinks his way through situations and does so at such an incredible speed. That he's always got an edge, always seems to be able to anticipate quicker than his opponent and be in the wrong place at times. He go on. Different
to you and I always felt like Lockie, the language of football, like the X's and O's, the human battleships, the pure tactical stuff. it was like it was his native tongue. It's
Yes. It is a different language. And he was fluent, whereas I always felt like you and I behind that would fry me at times.
You and I are like parlez-vous on fair player.
He would translate for us and then okay, gotcha. That's
you and I had to sort of point and grunt and
we were more the feelers. We were just give you the vibe and what's happening.
Hey, life's about balance.
Important too. All about balance.
We all need each other. Absolutely. Everyone play your role.
But I think you mentioned Doc as well there, mate.
Taylor Durant, one of our favourites.
Oh God, what a great story he's been this year, and there were some really lovely things said by his teammates earlier when he had his video for his 150. He's just he's a general down back, and the way that he's similar to Lockie in the way that he can set up and instruct, and he's always got a great attitude, and he's playing with a real ferocity this year, and probably seeing some of his best football that he's ever played this season.
I wondered that. Yeah, he's been incredible.
Yeah, it's been so great to see. One of the funniest teammates I've had too. He's got a similar quick wit to you, Bob, but he's better company. And yeah, he's just been fantastic. I'll leave it with you.
That was a sharp little jab, and just straight onto the neck.
Slipped off the toe. It just fell.
I know. That's fine. After all the nice things I said to you at the opening,
it's put me off. I'll be honest. It put me off.
So you're going to the game this week? Big game against the Kangaroos. I'll be on radio duties this week, so I'll be keeping an eye on what's going on. So give us a wave if you're inclined to look up at the media. Yep. Are you going along?
Yeah, we'll be going along, which is great because there's not many we've been able to go along to this year.
No.
We've kept out of a few. Obviously, the boys have been away in Perth 2 of the last 3 games, and there was crowd restrictions for a few others, so didn't get to go to the Melbourne game. And
I think it's the first for fans, our Bulldog clan. It's the first one since round 10 against the Saints. So
wow,
which will be nice for our supporters, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, why don't we take a quick break, because I want to get stuck into this segment in part 2. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to include a lot of social interaction from our Bulldog clan, and it has to do with the greatest Bulldog, almost iconic Bulldog hairstyles of all time. Coming right up after this
segment. Can't wait.
Welcome back to the Western Bulldogs podcast, Barclay Street. This is a very exciting time in the history of Barclay Street because we've been we've danced around this one for a little while. We're waiting for the right opportunity to drop it on our supporter base. I think you're going to love it. We're going to rattle through. We've selected a cluster of iconic Bulldog players and their haircuts from years gone by, and a few current ones as well. And we're going to try and whittle it down to 4 to cover as much ground as we can, and then put it out onto the socials. It's not going to please everyone because everyone's going to have a favourite.
Absolutely.
But we do
and what
make
then
the
is
heart.
It going to be a vote for what's the best or the most iconic out of those 4?
Yeah. Now, I felt like with what did we do this year? We did the most iconic goals. I had a bit of a feel for how that would go.
Yeah.
This could go in any number of ways.
You also came up with a very specific set of rules which allowed you to cherry pick, some might say, your selections for the best goals. Are we going to have a similar scenario here where it's your favourite?
Well, we're co-hosts, but as you know, it's more of a 60-40 split.
That's generous.
Now, I'm captain of this podcast. You're vice captain. Now, I don't know if I can do my knee metaphorically on this podcast and you take over and take all the glory.
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain.
I wondered when we were going to get to that point when that was going to get brought up. There it is. Started the podcast in such a wonderful fashion.
We got there eventually.
Oh, he's gone straight to the top shelf.
Yeah.
He's taken his biggest
Yeah.
gun and gone bang.
Might have overcooked it. Wasn't even that offended early, but really went over the top.
Yeah.
Before we get to haircuts, you need to take this down to the locker room because this bit of feedback from David Benson on Twitter, who's a big fan of the podcast, it has to be said.
Good on you, Dave. Great to have you, Dave.
But he's given us this, and so you need to take it down to your comrades and sort it out because I'm starting to come around to David's thinking. This is what he says.
What's he got?
Hey, Bob Murphy, scrap the Last Dance question on Barclay Street podcast. It's pretty dull. The documentary is over a year old and the players' responses don't offer much insight.
I mean, he's very matter of fact and he's probably pretty close to the mark there, isn't he?
I think we need to word them up before they come on. Tell them what they're going to be asked.
Hang on. You want me to go down and tell the boys they need to give a bit more?
When we order the next guest, when we get the next guest
isn't this feedback for you? Isn't he saying your question's no good?
Well, he starts off by saying that.
You're passing the buck, mate. You don't have to be telling me to go down and tell the boys. It's time for a bit of self-reflection, I think.
Or I think we give it one more crack that you word up your boys and tell them, give us a bit more insight. Instead of,
one last hurrah.
Because, Dennis Rodman, because he went to Vegas. That's it, is it? That's what you got out of that documentary, that Rodman went and wrestled and went to Vegas.
What's one more going to get us that the previous 7 didn't?
Just want someone to say Phil Jackson. Come on.
Well, Dave, let us know a better question, mate, and we'll chuck something.
Yeah, well.
Maybe put that out to Barclay Street. What question would you prefer? Because the Archie one's great.
Archie's nickname, and if you can, maybe Scary Movie as a kid. Maybe we scrap that as well. Yeah, but maybe we freshen it up.
Table. It's all on the table.
We'll keep Archie nickname, and then what are the 2 other stock questions you'd like to ask the players? Anyway,
right.
Can we get to haircuts?
Right, we're on to haircuts.
Okay, all right. Let's start. It's one of your teammates, the Norm Smith medalist, current champion, Jason Johannesson, and it's the version, as you'll see on the screen now, of, well, how would you describe it? It's kind of military cut.
It's the golden noodles on top.
Yeah, it's the fade into the regrowth into the peroxide white almost sort of flat toppy.
Yep. It's probably
spectacular.
One of the most instantly recognizable haircuts I think we've ever had. And like a lot of the haircuts we're going to go through and absolutely no good, and that's being kind. No. Whereas actually
this one's kind of high fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is high fashion.
Really raise the bar.
If we're being critical, does it lack originality?
Why? Who did it?
Is it a copy? Isn't it Odell Beckham Jr.?
Everything's a copy, isn't it? How can you be totally original?
Wow,
now we're getting somewhere.
Wow. Far be it for me to say.
I mean, the high watermark of this haircut, I think, is that it was so recognisable and so well received. He got a mini version of it made. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that's something to consider.
That's something.
Yeah, that is. He commercialised it.
Did very well. But we should have had the photo as well of when it went wrong, when the peroxide went too far. And we got a skinhead version of JJ because it was just totally ruined.
The blowout. Yeah, the haircut.
I reckon 2016 Frio.
Yes, round one.
That was just as iconic. Oh, God.
The next one, this will warm the hearts of many out there. It certainly warmed my heart. I'm so happy to see it on the list. I dare say it could go into early favouritism. And it's not just a haircut, I think. It's the whole package here. It is the icon of the West, Gary Zimmerman.
Just incredible staying power. Like for sheer commitment to the same the same look. I don't know when he came up with it. I've been here for 14 years and I've never seen Gary without this.
No, I
it's just a thing
believe he was born like this. Full.
Oh, you got me a snort.
Full,
It didn't deserve a snort, but I wasn't ready for it. Just maybe Gary coming out with a mustache.
Yeah, it's if Billy Crystal and Robert Di Domenico had a child, it would have been Gary Zimmerman.
We've got to get that on screen. That's the perfect match. It's brilliant.
So I think
extra points for just sheer commitment. I mean, we've talked about Archie Salick a lot on this podcast about how we love the sheer commitment of sticking to a terrible nickname just day in, day out. And Zim's really stood the test of time with this.
So I think let's just put Gary in because you know it, I know it, everyone else, it's in the four.
Gary in, everybody.
He's in there. Yeah.
Votes are important,
but I'm using my power.
What he wants.
No, you and I are getting it down to 4, aren't we? And then we'll put it out.
Oh.
Or we just put it all out.
We'll work it out. You're running this show.
All right. Next up is Lukey Dalhouse, and it's the early version of Lukey Dalhouse with the full dreads. Look, I've got a rules to live by that dreadlocks on white dudes. It's a no. He's probably done as well as anyone has as a Caucasian fella with dreadlocks. He looked pretty good. He's got a deep tan there. He looks like a surfy.
Such ratty dreads though.
Oh yeah, I'm not a dreads guy.
There could have been a bird living in there at some point, a nest.
He's not a surfer.
I've got a bone to pick with Dal. So Dal came in day one with his haircut, right? And at this point in time, some of the listeners might remember I was rocking a similar length haircut.
We'll get to yours. But
let me get on the record and say, it's safe to say, and you will remember this, Bob, I was copying a significant amount of heat for the length of my hair from coaching staff at this point. And Dal rolled in day one, not a thing said about dreads. He was playing in his first year, not a worry.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, I can't figure this out.
I think because he came as that package, and we'd seen you with the short back and sides, and then all of a sudden it was. Anyways, we're going to just hold fire on yours. We need to spend a minute or two on yours.
It's not a good thing back then.
The next one, Bulldog supporters I know will be waiting with bated breath to see Danny Southern on this collage. Yeah, and not dissimilar to Zimmer. This one, it's kind of the whole package. It's Sutho's shaved head, full rat's tail. And
is that what we call it? Is it a rat's tail?
Oh, I think so. I think it's a classic ratty.
Isn't the classic ratty like a really thin little thing?
Well, I think he did plait it at various times, but this one's more where he's just let it sort of hang. And it's the added snarl. It's the Sutho just whole package. So
it's an amazing thing. What a specimen.
It had to be on the list. I dare say it's going to be popular. It's going to be very popular.
I should imagine so.
Yeah. Next up is the early iteration, like draft day, first month at the club of Adam Cooney. And I must admit, it's a bleached afro, really.
He definitely has bleached in it, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's a ginge. So that's a bleached afro.
And the sun behind is really lighting it up. It's just perfect. Isn't it? It looks like almost a halo.
It's a little bit of a Doc Brown from Back to the Future homage.
It's definitely the crazy element to it.
Yeah. When I see that now, it's like, I can only barely remember that guy. I don't reckon it lasted all.
So maybe not as iconic as what you're thinking.
Well, it burned brightly and briefly. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Burning brightly there.
The next one is most certainly iconic. It is most certainly iconic.
Certainly burned bright and it burned hot.
It's the most interesting. It's the weirdest. It's arguably the best. It's the liver
the worst at the same time.
Yeah, it's so bad it's good.
Yep.
It's the liver fryer tuck, I suppose we would call it.
Yep.
It was in the off season. Vietnam, I think, which again, an iconic off-season holiday. There's a lot of iconography
There's so
here,
much to this story.
But there is one crucial part missing that needs to be said. Now, we've got to make the hard calls here.
All right.
Did he ever play in the red, white, and blue with the Friar Tuck?
I don't think he was allowed back into the country with that.
I think there was some
before he got home.
I believe there were some immigration issues.
The thing I love about and part of the picture is perfect, that it's taken from behind him and he's not paying any attention whatsoever. This isn't done to entertain anyone. It's probably just a spur of the moment, just all for himself. Just having a laugh.
This is the polar opposite of Matty Robbins bleaching his blonde hair before a Friday night game, just like for all the camera time. Tom wasn't interested in any of that. He just, feel like doing it. I'm doing it. Good.
Yeah, that's why we love him. I haven't seen a Friar Tuck in a while, and I don't think we'll see one again soon.
Oh golly gosh. Next, of course. Well, so now we've got the battle, Easton. And let's just let's box them all up, triple them up. The current crop of mullet men between Aaron Naughton, then Bailey Williams, who's had a couple of goes at it, and of course Bailey Smith. Yeah. So this is current mullet wars. Yeah. It's been a very enthusiastic sort of push from this crop of teammates of yours.
Oh, this new generation, they love the mullet, don't they?
Mm. Who puts more time? Who puts the most time into it?
Well, none of them put any time into it. I think that's the point.
Oh, right.
It's just a growth. Just let it take care of itself. And it's all home job haircuts. There's no.
Well, Bailey's looks like a home job.
Yes.
That's pretty crude.
Get what you pay for.
But Naughts and Bailey, that looks like it's a proper wash, shampoo, conditioner routine. Like,
well, Naughty just has an exceptional volume to his hair. I say to him a few times, he looks like a Groodle. Like a big, big fluffy, voluminous dot bouncing out the back. Whereas Baz's is much more just straight. But he's probably
his is sort of like a glam rocker.
Yeah, Baz's is probably more recognisable, isn't it? And Bailey Williams that's the rudest haircut I've ever seen. I think that's even ruder than Libber's Friar Tuck because you've had to go to the length.
Harsh. Something quite harsh about it. It's been
split either side, so you can only see the brown side, but that's together.
Oh wow! So
that's like not two separate things. That's one haircut. He's done the top deck.
Okay, so I may have underestimated that.
That's not two go. That's one go, and
that's quite revolting, isn't it?
Yes, can confirm in the flesh it was.
Oh my lordy lord! Okay, well, can we just moving on from that? I feel a bit of a stomach churn there. One of the most underrated Bulldog players of all time, let alone haircuts, Simon Atkins. This was Bailey Smith before Bailey Smith. And it was ginge with a bit of a light sort of lemon juice through it. But Simon Atkins, I mean, look at that photo. It's got the tight shorts, it's got the magnificent Bulldog jumper, the one of the great Bulldog jumpers, and the long sleeve. And it's played a lot of footy.
There's a lot going right for it, isn't there?
There's a lot happening here, and I love everything about it. So Simon Atkins, he's definitely in contention.
Yeah.
This one's more of the obscure sort of. This is like a B-side to a sort of Scandinavian rock group. It's just this one's for the truth. This one's for the true fans.
Yeah.
But they want it on there, and
I'm not surprised, Bob.
Yeah, you want it. Yeah, Spindle Shanks, the microphone. Jared Grant.
Any haircut that's iconic enough to get a nickname. This is the only one on the entire list that has a specific nickname. Old microphone head. That's got to be worth extra points. Just the enigma that Granny was anyway.
Yes.
The strange cat. It was just. It's a classic. It really looks like a helmet, and particularly with his chin straps coming down the side, it looks like a strap-on helmet.
It's probably the photo I reckon that deserves a zoom in if you've got the time, just to really sort of get in there and have a look at the detail. All
about details here in Barclay Street.
Mate, I'm not sure if you and I will make the final cut of this in the top four, but it would be remiss of us not to at least offer up some kind of
we haven't been
nomination.
rolling this every day, have we?
No, we're
gone through our
always
own iterations.
Cool. That's right. We're not always this cool. Yours, and how would you describe your? It's kind of Steven Seagal-esque.
Yeah, I guess so. I was really trying to commit. Yeah, so no washing and no cutting. I was just trying to see as long as it could go. But I was doing the full clean shave then. I'm not sure why. I don't think I could grow a beard then. I was only 20, maybe 21. But it
you're an angry
simultaneously,
man.
Well, it was simultaneously what I think I loved it, and I've never got more hate in my entire life. I would get feedback on the street of just like, cut your hair. What are you doing? And that's the nicest possible way I could say it. There was certain opposition fans that I used to get a fair bit of feedback from across the fence as well.
Yep.
It was quite an interesting time. And as I said before with Dell, it wasn't quite well received within the four walls at points either.
No, I don't believe Rodney Eade nor Paul Williams, who was coaching at the time, were a major fan. I think that I had a few queries about your form as a player, and then somehow linked the hair into.
That was the precursor to it all.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it was a bit of me time, whereas I don't know, I was just 20 and growing my hair.
Yeah, you're just finding your feet. And look, there's one of me in here. You'll see it's kind of like it's a bit of a Led Zeppelin kind of Robert Plant. It's a long, thick curl, and that photo's taken in Darwin, so that the humidity really got to it.
Are you sure you haven't had a perm there, Bubba? Because evidence would be
humidity,
suggesting that that's a reasonable question to ask.
It's the humidity of Darwin, and you know what the thing about this one is. People are going to look at that and think, gee, that's embarrassing for me. And what I would say to them is, what's embarrassing is I think that absolutely wrong. I wish I still had
Bring it back. But can I ask, have you trimmed the fringe? Because there's a lot. Why is there so much volume coming down the side here?
Yeah, no.
It looks like one of those snow caps where it has those flaps to cover your ears.
Well, it's the lot, it's my lifelong frustration. I wanted the hair of Liam Gallagher, but he's got straight hair, curly hair. So it was.
Did you ever whack the straightener onto it?
Oh shit, yeah.
Can you please go back and try and find some evidence of that?
It's very long at the moment, so next week I might straighten it for you.
Different colour these days, Taj.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a grey rinse through it these days.
It is only 15 ago.
Oh, golly, that was very satisfying. Okay, so we're going to put all of that out, or at least a big chunk of it out.
Are we coming up with a 4, or are we putting them all out?
Haven't worked that out yet, but we are going to get a good selection to pick from, and then we are going to get it down to
and let us know if we've missed any as well.
That's right, yeah. So most iconic Bulldogs hairstyles. East, great to chat to you. Look after that ankle more, and love to see you back out there. Bulldogs fans, get to the footy on Sunday if you can. If not, watch it on the television. Cheer on the boys, because they're always our boys, but they are an exciting team to watch. And who knows what could happen in the next couple of months, but it feels like something special is brewing. So until then, much love to y'all, and we'll see you down the road.